take our past leaders and they already did amazing, but now is our time to really keep the needle moving forward. What are some of the things that you're wanting to implement, especially in the space of, if there's any, embracing AI,
Yeah.
right? Because that's kind of where everyone's kind of looking at, especially with what's going on in the government, funding cuts and all that.
Yeah.
Where's your thoughts on what you get to do now as the true leader of this organization?
So I am in a wonderful position in the fact that I get to build on the legacy that's already built. We have a very successful organization here in the greater Augusta area, and so just building on that foundation, but really cool to be able to kind of put my own stamp on it. Working on the culture of our organization, I want this to be the best place to work. I want every single person that gets a paycheck from our YMCA to love coming to work as much as I do. You know, I want them to wake up every morning and enjoy. And of course, there's going to be, parts of our job description that are hard or that we don't love as much as others. But for them to wake up and come to work and enjoy what they do and to know in their heart that they're making an impact, even when they don't see it every single day. Some of our positions do, but we have a lot of behind the scenes that don't necessarily get to see it. But for them to know in their heart and to believe that we are making a difference every single day, I want to create that culture. And so working through that through staff development and through team building and those kind of things, that's one of the things that I'm most passionate about, and kind of changing that culture, making it a place where everyone enjoys coming to work and they feel connected and committed, but also have opportunities to grow. I want to be able to open doors that were opened for me and see these staff thrive, and go from a camp counselor to a branch exec to a VP, and be able to continue their career in the Y as well. I also love the technology piece and incorporating that, not as a replacement tool, but just making us, I always tell my staff, let's work smarter, not harder. And if there is
100%.
an AI tool or some type of software that can create an environment where we're able to do our job and it makes it a little bit easier, let's go for it and use those tools and resources to do that. We have to do that at this point. We're working with staff teams that are much younger now, and that's the energy that they have. So being able to keep up with that, we need to make sure that we're at the forefront. So I encourage our staff to bring those new softwares and technology to me to have those discussions to see where they can fit into the nonprofit space and from a leadership space.
You know what's so good is that you mentioned young leaders, that is even a thing in your mind. Because as a leader myself, I do ask ourselves, why are young leaders not in this space? I also think it's something that we don't talk about at the high school level, right? Everyone wants to go be a teacher, a basketball player, whatever. But no one ever says, "I want to go run a nonprofit. I want to be a leader to a nonprofit." But there's so much good in that as well. It's not about chasing the money, but truly chasing purpose and passion, really making a difference in our communities and impacts in our communities at high levels. So I'm excited that you're working with our young leaders and letting them know that, hey, we accept you as who you are. We need you, right? We embrace what you bring to the table. So I'm quite excited about what that actually looks like. You've also, in a world that's really kind of almost obsessed with AI, I can imagine that AI becomes a topic everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
You've said it's a tool, it's not a takeover. I'm 100% agreeing with that. What does that look like at the Y level? Are you guys using things like ChatGPT, Copilot, or are you guys thinking even further than that?
So yes, we do use ChatGPT, and we're just in the early stages of that. And my leadership kind of taking over and supporting that effort. The Y is neat in the sense that we have a network of a national organization, and so there's Ys
Hmm.
all over, and we're able to connect in that front. And so we actually have some enhancements to ChatGPT that are focused on why. So through marketing and through membership, through sport development, there are these tools within our ChatGPT that we can kind of ask questions to. They call them AI advisors. They're Y advisors, and they're all named these cute, cool names. So our staff are kind of getting involved in that and working with the voice of the Y. So if they're writing something, they can use that tool to help create that document in the voice of the Y. So
Okay.
utilizing that. Also getting really creative with our job descriptions. We have, just like you said, these young professionals don't necessarily see the Y as, the career path coming in, but what we've done with some of our job descriptions is making them create them in a different way that they're more appealing to folks. And so you just using AI to help us write those creative job descriptions has really helped as well.
I love that you mentioned ChatGPT and how you put it in your voice, and I guess it's that kind of that workspace in ChatGPT. I
Yes.
just tapped into it, right? So you can add all these seats. But as long as you created the voice,
Yes.
anything that you do, outside with that voice, that own, I guess it's creating your own GPT inside
Yes.
ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
I actually just did that with my assistant, and I said, "Hey, can you go ahead and do these frameworks? Can you do these questions?"
Mhm.
And that was my first time, and I'm like, "Wow, this was
It's
so good."
amazing. Yes, it's really amazing, especially when you give that platform. And the Y has very strict guidelines and branding standards and all in the voice behind it.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
so, really, just dumping that in, and when it creates something, it's using that voice, which is really impressive. It's neat.
It is.
The other space that's exciting for us here locally, we're the first to launch I call it the AI-driven technology-based fitness equipment called eGym.
Okay.
And it's taken Wise over by a storm across the country. We just launched this about 60 days ago, and it's basically the easiest way to explain it is like having a personal training or a coach with you along the entire 11 pieces of equipment. So while you're working out, it uses technology, and it essentially gives you a personal trainer. So you're doing each piece of equipment. It knows your height, your weight. It does a strength test, so it knows exactly how you need to exercise, what you need to do to make sure you don't plateau. It gives you a bio age. We had over 500 people on board on this piece of equipment in the first 30 days. We have now 60 days in over 700 people that have onboarded onto this piece of equipment. It's also from a timing perspective, you can get a full body workout in about 22 to 30 minutes, and so that's
Wow.
really been attractive to people. But there's also a video game element to it. As you're doing your reps, it's counting them for you, but it's also, there's a screen that you're kind of playing this video game as thing. So it's really neat, but it's a way that we're utilizing that technology piece
Yeah.
to connect with people, because my favorite part about it is it's really connecting with the user, and when we onboard somebody, it gives us a chance to communicate with them and see what their goals are and put those in, and then we're able to track that person to make sure that they're not falling off, that they're doing the right thing, and it gives us one more way that we're able to connect with our members.